Oh, good evening, lads. Tomás Ó'Sé an seo agus Tommy an ag dul bio le Cathal McShane a nacht Benetti Live, down to Benetti Live, and we're going to chat with Cathal about all things GAA at the moment and what he's doing in lockdown, and hopefully get an insight to all things that he's gone through in the last terms of All-Stars, and he's had a great season. He's added to Tyrone, and there he is, I would say. Is it? No, that's not him at all, I don't think. I thought that was him here. And I said that I'd announce a bit of news. The only news, it isn't really news, lads. It's that I'm going to kind of continue with the chats on my own platform rather than doing it through Benetti. So I'm going to create a kind of a platform specifically designed to have my own chats going, and all the catalogue of all the chats I have will be on them, and you'll be able to go in and access them all, hopefully. And I suppose I never imagined that I'd be doing it, but due to the lockdown and all that, and with the opportunity that Benetti afforded me, people were ringing me from America today saying, what's this big announcement? And they thought it was something to do with Cathal McShane himself, that I was announcing something with him, or that he was announcing something. But that's it. That's all that's involved. And we don't know how long it'll go. It's in association with it, nobody but myself. And the lads in Benetti will help me out. Vinny Nally and the boys, and hopefully we'll see what will happen. I'm just waiting for Cathal to come in here now, and we'll have a chat with him. So this will be my last chat. The chats coming won't be as often, but they'll be longer. So Johnny Long, I thought I was coming out. No, not coming out at all. Okay, on that note, I hope Cathal joins fairly fast. So let me see now. Hopefully Cathal has a bit of Wi-Fi above there. And Conor sketches, I thought you'd be watching the golf, Conor. I was watching it there myself. There's no atmosphere whatsoever. So if we learn anything from that, we'll learn, Jesus Christ, do not play football games without supporters. I'm hoping that Jesus, is that him? Jeez, that looks like an old woman. That's like I can't be him. No, I don't think I can't. Maybe people are sending in the wrong thing. If Cathal is online there, I don't know what in the name of God is wrong with people at all with Wi-Fi and all that crack. But anybody that after coming in, I'll be launching my own platform in terms of interviews and putting all the interviews together, and hopefully it's something that we'll get 5 or 6 or 7 interviews in a series, and we'll put, he's en route, says Vincent, we'll put them one a week, hopefully on a Monday night, and that's the way I'd like to do it going forward. We'll try to get as we've had brilliant guests, and we'll try to keep that up. So I have a few confirmed already for that, and we'll be announcing all that next week. And look, every interview that we have hopefully will be at the press of a button in front of you. So we'll see, and we won't be running it throughout the championship or anything like that. When the championship comes, we'll all focus in on the championship, and we'll have the crack with the championship. But during this time, I think it's good, and it's kind of kept me in touch as well with the lads in terms of what's going on. And I'm going to ask Cathal about this thing that's brewing with club and county in terms of training and all that. I'm not going to put him in a position of asking, is he actually training? They're not supposed to be training as a group, and nobody is training as a group, but it'll be definitely hard on clubs to get championships run off and all that. So we'll see how it's going. I'll ask him about his injury as well. He's on the way. Jesus Christ almighty. Hopefully. There he is, boy. I was right. So waiting for Cathal there. Why would I move club? How do you mean, why would I move club? Cathal, how are you, boy?
Tomás, how's things? How are you keeping?
I'm good, boy. How are you?
Not too bad. I had a bit of difficulty there. I was trying to do it in the laptop, but I was told then I have to do it on the phone. So
Phone's way
it's sorted.
easier, by.
Yeah, how's things?
Somebody's after saying there he's gone back to Oz. The old comments coming up on the front there, by.
Yeah, I wanted to give you a few minutes there to get a few people on anyway. So it's good.
I tell you, boy, you have the following. We don't have numbers like this normally. What was I going to say? Thanks for doing it, Cathal. I
Yeah.
know the championship hasn't started off yet or anything like that, but there's a bit of excitement. What were your own thoughts? I suppose a few weeks ago you were thinking, geez, there'll be nothing happening. Before I start about that, Cathal, how's your injury?
The injury's coming on. It's if I'm being honest, it's been slow. Obviously with the football being cancelled, and the way I look at it, there's pros and cons to it. Obviously the pros are that you're not missing any matches, and it gives you time maybe to do the rehab and get back to where you want to be. But obviously the downside to it too is that maybe you're not getting access to physios and stuff like that as you would maybe 2 to 3 nights a week. But I guess it's just been good days and bad days. But I think the main thing is you just keep at it, keep working at it, and hoping that you're trusting the process basically.
I did my ankle badly, and I ended up strapping my ankle for every single training session and every single match for about 13 or 14 years. What exactly did you do?
Mine was quite rare. Basically, it was a subtalar dislocation, so quite rare. I think it's in terms of dislocation, you have like 1% chance of doing that. It's quite rare, yeah. So obviously there was no real. I did get good news in terms of no actual break or anything like that. So there was good and bad news, obviously. But again, we did know it's going to take time. But again, it's just now that's in the past. Obviously, it's just about looking forward now to getting back to where you were and the level that you were competing at.
And hopefully, if all goes well and there's action in October, do you hope to be right for that?
Definitely, you have to definitely hope for that. Obviously, it's a good bit away in terms of that's part of the fact that the football being cancelled. That was obviously a big factor in terms of me being lucky. But again, I have a few months now to get myself back. Again, I believe obviously with the restrictions being lifted slightly recently, that might allow me to see physio more often now in the maybe coming weeks. As I say, I'm not 100% sure in that, so I'll just play it by ear. But hopefully, you'd have to hope, yeah, that I'll be hoping to be involved once the football starts back up again.
I know you're a good club man and you have fierce time for your club. I've heard you numerous times talking about them on your own and all that. But have you seen, like I'm involved with a minor team down here, and geez, even going back training, the preparation that will have to go into every single training session. We were basically told that you're going to be an hour-long session is now going to take 2 hours in terms of getting all these forms every night and temperatures every night. Have you been told? Have you been educated on that, or what's involved?
To be honest, Tomás, I was saying sort of because of my injury, whenever all that information came out, I was just sort of saying I probably took a different approach in terms of how I analysed it, because I was saying if I was fit and ready to rock, I'd be reading everything in the slightest detail. But just with my situation, I've started to get a laid back approach on it and sort of waiting for everybody else to see what they're going to do. But I do know the lads in the group chats have been talking about it, and they are looking forward to getting back when safe to do so. But I do believe it's going to be tough. The guys there's a boy in my club there, Charlie. He's tired running after balls after training when boys are kicking them away and stuff. So he's going to have his hands full trying to sanitize the balls and stuff like that. So okay, listen, there's pros and cons to that as well. But again, I think everyone wants to get back playing. That's the important thing. But obviously there's procedures in place that people will have to follow, because you wouldn't want to see a second spike or anything like that, if you get me.
Yeah, do you know, I was injury. Do you find with injury, Colin, it's an awful thing to say, but when you're injured or you're not part of the squad, you're part of the squad, but you're not part of the squad. Yeah. It's a funny, I was suspended a couple of times actually, and in championship, and it's like you're not part of it. They don't come talking to you. The management don't come talk. Did you find that? And it's a strange place to be.
It's probably my first injury in terms of even with the Tyrone senior team, in terms of haven't had any serious injuries. So I've always sort of been available, or been an option, or been available for selection. But obviously since this happened, Tomás, we had one game. Do you know what I mean? Since this injury took place, we had one game, and there was a Dublin game. and then obviously everything sort of went into shutdown. So it's been different. I was back, probably missed a few weeks, obviously, with training and stuff, because I had to just get, the recovery and get the operation and things done. But once I returned in to the match against Dublin, it was very, very soon after that. The whole thing was closed up and stopped. So I've never got to experience that, but obviously you'd be I would say it is a strange feeling, not being able to play. But as I say, it's not something that I've been used to or have experienced before.
Or you hopefully won't have to experience it too much. There's a lot of stuff brewing, and I can see it in the media already, Cathal, between, like, I suppose a month ago even, people were saying, Christ, no championship, blah, 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 and next thing we're all back, and club is back, and inter-county is back, and you're thinking, whoa, this is brilliant. But there's a lot of negative stuff, isn't there, about, like, there's trouble down the tracks in that every county board are free to align their county championship the way they want to, set up whatever dates they want to set up, and already there's some counties and they're setting up their county championship for August and early September, and it's a kind of a two fingers to the club. And I don't want to put you in a position, because you're obviously in with a county team, but you know what's happening in Tyrone and what setup they're going to have in terms of the county championship. I know in Kerry it's in the early days of October, the 3rd or 4th of October is the county final, which means the club will get a fair crack at it. Like,
I think the plan obviously is they obviously start off the league. I believe they've decided to split the leagues up into maybe 2 sets. So there's going to be, say, 8 teams in one set and then 8 teams in another, competing against each other. So the leagues are going to be split up. I do believe that's probably the best decision, because it gives teams games. You don't want to be playing maybe too many games and then not fitting it in. It affects the championship in Tyrone as well. So I think the county board in Tyrone, to be fair, have really analysed it. They set out 3 or 4 different options, and they've obviously come up now with the best one, I believe, as well. As I say, it's hard to please everyone. Do you know what I mean, Tomás? But I do believe then it'll be in August. The championship will be running with the clubs, and then obviously with the plan, they have it read up, September or whatever. So it allows in the county to start up. But again, Tomás, I haven't really looked that much into it. As I say, I've just seen a few posts put out. But again, obviously, it's very hard to please everyone. But
Mickey has always been good in that way, in that Tyrone lads have always played club championship not too far away from, like, you have other counties that completely just draw a line and don't allow county players. I presume the fact that you're a big club man yourself, Cathal, you don't mind. You spend a lot of time with the club anyway, don't you? You have a good tight knit club, haven't you?
No, definitely. We obviously, it's the way it works. Obviously, every other year in Tyrone, you have the star games, so you're definitely going to miss 3, 4, 5 games, whatever, depending how the season goes and depending on how far Tyrone goes, etc. But no, to be fair, the club are very good to me. The manager and stuff sort of allows me to, obviously I have commitments with Tyrone, but whenever I'm available, then I'm 100% on rows. So, for example, if I'm available for training Friday night, I'll be there and stuff like that. I think it's important to do that, because although you're playing with Tyrone, you sort of need to say, the clubs where you came from at the very start, you know what I mean? They give you the platform to progress on to your county level. So, Tyrone was very, very important to me. And going forward now, you'll be hoping that there's big days ahead for the club as well, because last year we had a very promising year and we're looking to build on that. But obviously then with the football stopping and, with a few different things, that's been upset. But I do know the boys have been training away individually on their own, making sure the work's done. So, you'll be hoping that there is bright days ahead for the club.
Yeah, well, the news in the last couple of weeks has to be good and positive. Come here, can I ask you about Tyrone and that bloody shower of feckers that would never allow us to win in All-Ireland above every time we played against them above. What age were you during that period, Cathal?
I was about 7 or 8 back at that time. Again, I do remember again fondly. I was actually down in the one in Croke Park as well. So it was special days. But again, I just always remember back the big Justy and the McMahons and the Kerry full forward line and stuff, and then yourself up and down the pitch as well, trying to get as much ground covered as possible. But
I thought every time we played him, I thought, no, we'll have him this year. No, this will be the year we'll get him, and then bang again and bang again. There was a phenomenal team, and the fact, I suppose, that the Tyrone, Mickey Hart, and what he achieved at underage level and at under 21 level and at senior level, those guys will be heroes in Tyrone. Who was your favourite? Can you remember who were the big guys? Was Canavan always the man?
Canavan was class for me, and even getting to work with Canavan there in the under-21 setup a few years ago, that was brilliant. Obviously a great role model to look up to, and I love that goal he scored. I do believe you could have got closer to him, possibly, from running in the one Muggsy left off. No, I'm only joking. I know, yeah. I'm only joking. But no, listen, him and Stevie O'Neill and Brian DeVere as well were local lads. They came across out of my club, played as well, but Stephen and Brian were in my school. I went to the school in their area, so they were in my school a lot, and I looked up to them, and they were brilliant players and great role models for me and many other players to look up to. No, they're definitely a super team with many great leaders.
They were outstanding team. The forward, like you had, what I think a lot of people, you had possibly the best forward line I've ever played against. In fact, they were the best forward line I ever played. You had Dewar, and you had McGuigan, and you had Muggsy, and you had Canavan, and you had O'Neill. Jesus Christ, every one of them could score. But I think what they had, and what Tyrone teams always have, is they had a hard edge around the middle of the field. Whereas if we were trying to come out of defence, Christ almighty, the amount of effort it took us to get the ball.
Yeah, you felt it, like.
Oh, it was severe, like. Do you know when you moved up front, right? You played a lot of your early days, and I'll come back to St. Mary's in a second, but you played a lot of your early days out around the middle.
Yeah.
Did you really enjoy, and did you get a freedom above there that you possibly didn't have out around the middle because it's so cluttered?
Possibly, but again, it's probably where you're at in terms of your game yourself. At that time, I felt, fitness was a great part of my game. I loved getting up and down the pitch, and I was covering good ground. The full forward thing I always had it in terms of my club. I played with my club full forward from under 14 right the whole way up, so I always loved that position. I remember under 21s having a discussion with the manager in terms of what was my best position, and maybe midfield or full forward. But that year we went with midfield, and to be fair, I did enjoy that position. Maybe hanging back times, coming late, or else getting ahead of the ball and getting on it and trying to get scores and set up. But obviously, when you're in full forward, it's a completely different game. Obviously, you have to change a lot of things in terms of you have to be patient. You're not going to be involved in every move. But I guess it's just whenever you're called upon, you want to try and work towards that. So once I found out I was playing full forward, I tried to do everything everything I could to make sure that I performed at a high standard.
Do you get frustrated inside there at times if it doesn't come early? Like, because when I was playing, if and it hasn't changed, like the mantra in terms of get it, the earlier you get it in, the early runs are made, and the more energy the forward has. Do you find that, Jesus Christ, when there's 4 or 5 runs made, you're saying, Christ almighty, would you just kick it in?
Times a few of the boys would hear me now saying get it in earlier and stuff, but I think that's just part and parcel of it. Obviously the boys are trying to look up, and I think that's the important thing. Get the head up early and see if the pass is on. But a lot of times too, I'd be running for it and the pass wouldn't be on. Do you know what I mean? So it works both ways, but you do want it to try and get in early, and you want to try obviously get the ball in and get the score. But again, as you say, Tomás, you do get frustrated times because obviously you maybe sometimes you have to run out wide just to leave space and things like that. So it's just a position that I've worked a lot on recently, and I'm happy with the progress. But you want to try and get better and better at it. So that's what I'll be aiming to do.
Yeah, I was going to say the old team, and I don't know who was I talking to there lately as well, and I was asking the same question about the team. Do you find that supporters in Tyrone, right, that I was talking to, who was it? I was talking to Oisin McConville, and I was asking him about the current Armagh team, and that would they feel the pressure of the lads from 2002 that won the All-Ireland? And do you feel sometimes talking to supporters of Tyrone or your own people in Tyrone that there is a pressure on you to kind of that you're compared to that team? Maybe
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't really say. Well, from my own experience, being compared to them, I wouldn't say that I would get that feeling from when I speak to Tyrone supporters. I wouldn't say that, no. But obviously, there is a big pressure playing with Tyrone. You obviously, you want to be performing, you want to be winning silverware, and whenever you pull on the jersey, there is a big responsibility there. But you believe that you've done the work and everything else behind it to have success. But the Tyrone supporters always come out in numbers, which is brilliant. You know, when you're in Croke Park, there's nothing for myself and, you know, all the other Tyrone lads. I'm sure yourself playing with Kerry and the Kerry lads as well, looking up and seeing your colours in the stadium, you know, it's something that drives you on and really inspires you. And even looking at some of the kids that come to the games, you know, they look up to, you know, as you said to me earlier, Brian Durr, Stephen O'Neill, Peter Cannon, when I was at the games, they were the people I was idolising. So, you know, now we try and do that for them. We try and set a good standard for them to look up to and, you know, be role models for them. But there's definitely a pressure that comes with playing for Tyrone, but it's definitely something that I really enjoy and, you know, take it on, no problem.
The Ulster Championship, Cathal, probably, it has been the most competitive in the last, 20 years. And Connacht is competitive. Munster and Leinster at the moment isn't, I don't think, anywhere near the other two in terms of competition and all that. When you were young, and you obviously, the fact that, and we'll come to Oz later on, but the fact that you were always, your dream was to play with Tyrone. Has the Ulster Championship, and you would have grown up through the competitive battles where you could be beaten by anybody. Has it lived up to your expectations as a player? Like, it's a fierce competition? Yeah,
fierce competition with no doubt. Again, as you say, there any team in any day can, you know, pick up the one, and I think that's the beauty of it all as well. I know it's you know, you never like being in the losing team or whatever. You do know that any day you go out, it's going to be a battle. Like, for example, you know, you see some years when it wasn't Donegal's year, Monaghan were piping up, and then Tyrone piped up for a few years. And, you know, if Monaghan or Tyrone out there, Donegal's piping up, and then Cavan sprung on there with a few good games. Armagh came before last year. So there's definitely a big rivalry there. And, you know, any team is capable of picking up a result. But I think it's just it's continued on. It's just the nature of Ulster football. I believe, you know, you look at the Armagh teams of the late, back in the early days, again, Down, you know, all those teams. Tyrone never have an easy game. Again, even Derry last year in Healy Park came down to, you know, the first game came down to maybe the last few minutes to pick up the victory. So there's never an easy game in Ulster, but again, that's something that you really enjoy and you love the challenge, basically.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't throw up excuses, right? Or nobody would throw up excuses or anything like that, right? But would you think it's fair? Let's say that the journey you go through Ulster, and then you might see a Kerry team coming up from Munster, or you might see Dublin coming out from a fairly handy Leinster Championship, and you might have 3 or 4 battle-hardened game, right?
Yeah.
And anytime you win a championship, people will say, "Oh, that stood to us." But do you think it's fair? I'm not saying this is a GA question. It's not you bitching about anybody else, but do you think it's a fair championship structure? Like, I know you wouldn't swap the Ulster Championship for anything.
Definitely not. No, but I do believe you have a point in terms of, you know, we could be through the wars in Ulster. You know, those games don't come by too easy in terms of your bodies are on the line, and you know, sometimes men are putting their bodies on the line that much that they may pick up injuries or whatever, because it is so competitive and it's hard fought games. And then sometimes, like, you know, Kerry could come through the process of the system a lot easier, and you know, they mightn't have had a tremendous amount of battles. Again, that can work for you and it can work against you, because if you win, you're going to be saying, as you said there, you know, that's the this, we used that well, they progress and go on ahead. But then you could also be saying, maybe if you had a few, you know, light-hearted games, or maybe games that weren't as intense, and then it would allow you then to excel better, you know, further down the competition. But again, we just have to deal with what's in place, and you know, that's obviously the way it is at the minute. If there is changes made in the future, so be it. But again, we can only concentrate on ourselves and do what we do well, and that's obviously going through the Ulster route.
Yeah, and with this year, Cathal, I don't know what way the GA are going to do it and what format. It's going to be knockout. It has to be in the small window that they have. I don't know, are they going to go into 2021 or what way they're going to do it? They obviously have plenty of time to get it right. But would you look forward to, there's a fierce edge, there's an excitement for the supporters anyway, a pure knockout. I
think that is class in a way. Even for if you're going to pay your money to watch a game as a supporter, you're going to be on the edge of your seat, because there's no, obviously, you know, it's knockout football. Whoever loses, you know, is obviously out, whatever. But as I say, it brings an excitement to it. But there's obviously more pressure then on the players as well, because you know that you have to pick up the one. But again, if that is the case, it'll be something that we look forward to. Definitely an exciting challenge.
I'm going to jump back now to the St. Mary's, because I was involved with UCC at the time and the Sigerson you won. And I suppose for the rest of the country, it was a kind of I won't say a surprise, right? But you weren't fancied coming in, right?
Definitely.
But the talent you had, McKernan and Myler and yourself, Who else was there? One of the McGearys was there, weren't they?
Kieran McGeary, yeah. Kieran
Yeah.
McGeary.
And Tally in charge. You had a fierce belief. You were fierce organised. Yourselves, that competition anyway, first of all, Cathal, what are your thoughts about the Sigerson?
That year was one of my best years, definitely. Again, such an experience. Obviously, you're playing in your year one with St Mary's, so you don't get to play in the Sigerson. It's always something that you're looking forward to. You're always looking to progress on and take part in it. But that year for me is up there with one of the highlights because, as you say, we were written off at the start. I do believe even the campaign or the cup, was launched, and St Mary's weren't even invited to that. The day of the cup being launched or whatever. So that was just a wee bit of that was a little bit of motivation for ourselves, and with some tremendous battles, even down in DCU. We went down to DCU, and obviously DCU have some incredible players, and we managed to come out of there with a 1 or 2 point lead, and that made us qualify for the weekend. So when we did that just gave us huge belief that we could actually go and do something. I remember obviously the game against yourselves. It couldn't have got off to a worse start. It was funny because that day we conceded the 2 goals straight away, 6 points down, and you're thinking, jeepers, we have a battle here. We managed to claw it back, but you go home that evening, you're doing your video work and you're doing everything to get ready for the next day, doing your recovery and stuff. And the one thing Paddy Tally says was, right, we can't concede 2 goals early again. And then the next day in the final, what happens? two goals. So I have to give Mark Reed a shout out for that. He was nuts at the time. That
was a star-studded UCD team as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, loads of quality players. Paul Mannion and Basquin and Basquel, Jack McCaffrey, boys got. But again, it's for many players in our team too weren't actually county players. So this is a really good opportunity for them to showcase their talent. And we put on, as I say, went 6 points down, but men stepped up to the plate big time and put on serious performances, and it was something to be really proud of. There's a real tight knit between the team, and it showed off at the end.
I was going to come to that because people don't realise. Explain to us about St Mary's, about the size of it, because you're coming up against the UCDs, you're coming up against the UCCs, you're going down to DCU. What size, St Mary's? Tell us about how big a college it is, and tell us about how Tally actually got you so together, because that was the one thing that jumped out to me after playing you. You were united as a team. You didn't flinch, and there was a togetherness there that was impressive.
In terms of Gaelic athletes to choose from, you might only have maybe 60 to 70 actually players that play Gaelic in the college, and then obviously you have to pick a squad of 30 of that that's capable of putting it all together on the day and challenging our Sigerson. And obviously the numbers there weren't on our side. We have a very, very small amount of numbers when you compare to UCC and UCD and DCU. They have massive numbers, big numbers that they can choose from. They can nearly field 3 or 4 teams, whereas we would just about field a B team. And it was crazy because we did a lot of good work. There was Kieran Kearney, Paddy Tally, Archie, loads of boys like that. We did a lot of work behind the scene too, and we were just all together, and all the lads really believed in each other, and I think that was really important. And again, it was just a tremendous journey that we'll never forget, basically.
Yeah, there's something special about the Sigerson. Say socially afterwards, you enjoyed it. God, there was a
definitely for more than a few days.
Paddy Tally, he was involved with Tyrone before, right? And he's a coach you'd have fierce respect for. And Mary's and UCC played again after a couple of years later, and Mary's played a fierce, good brand of football. When it's done right, when you have the players to pull it off, it's actually quite impressive. What did you admire about Tally? What was his biggest strength?
What I admired about him, obviously, he's very passionate for it. His attention to detail is very, very good. One thing I liked really about Paddy Tally was he kept everything really simple. Some of the training we did would have been really, really simple. But at the end of it, turned out very, very effective. I can think back. I'm not going to mention the times and games and stuff, but I can think back to many times in the games where certain drills that we did, you could actually see it come off, and it led to a goal. It led to a vital point at the end up. So sometimes in training when it was basic and simple, you were thinking right, and then obviously you trust the process, and at the end up it paid off. And Tally, to be fair, I have great respect for him because obviously he's been married since 3 years, and he taught me as well. So he's teaching you, and then he's taking you for in the Sigerson as well. So definitely a great fella.
How were you with the grades with him? Were the grades good?
Grades are good, yeah. I was relying on that Sigerson. If I hadn't won that Sigerson, we were messed up. But no, I was happy.
I had a lecturer in college in Mary I, and he was a fierce Kerry man, but it was psychology of education. Jesus Christ, I didn't have much clue about it. But I used to write half the essay was about Kerry's chances in the All Ireland.
That was enough. That was enough to get you through.
Oh, he never failed me anyway. And he should have, but he never did. Can I ask you about Mickey Hart? Because I fierce time for Mickey Hart. I think what he's achieved, everything in terms of personally, like what he's gone through and the way he's dealt with it, I've nothing but admiration for him. And I suppose the fact that you were such a keen Tyrone man growing up and what he achieved, what was it like going into the dressing room with him? What was it like just working under him?
It's surreal, to be honest. Obviously as a young kid growing up, I remember I have a photo in the house, me after Tyrone won Sam in 05, and it's me as a young kid along with Mickey Hart, holding Sam. So it was sort of special then to actually look back on that and say this is so many years ago, and now you're up getting managed by him at the top level. So many good days in the Tyrone jersey, and I do remember the day fondly that I got the call to come into the Tyrone senior team. And it's a day that you'll probably not forget. You always remember it. But again, working under Mickey Hart has been brilliant. Obviously as a young kid, you're dreaming to play with Tyrone. Mickey's been there now so many years, and what he's done has been incredible, and what he's been through and everything else. So no, it's been brilliant working for him, and you just want to try and obviously repay the faith he's shown you by bringing you in, because along the way I've had many ups and downs, good and bad games. So you just always try and do your best, and Mickey's kept faith in me from a young age. I came in at 18 or 19, and now I'm 24. So it's been a good journey so far, and a journey that you're hoping to continue.
You were talking about it's not all. I don't know where I read it about you, and it stuck with me that I don't know who said it. Was it Tally that brought somebody into you, and he said that to you, and it stuck with you that success isn't a straight line. There'll be roads going to the left, roads going to the right. Whatever you get knocked down, it's the way you deal with getting back up.
It was Wally Anderson. So Wally Anderson obviously played with Ireland, and captained them, and famously led them in that walk up into the the New Zealand team and stuff whenever they were doing the Haga. But we met with him one day in Belfast, and that was something that stuck out to me. Yeah, he was saying about success never comes in straight lines. You'll veer off to the left, you'll veer off to the right. You'll have setbacks, but it's just about how you react to that. You persevere, keep going, then you will eventually succeed. So, I would say myself, many other players could probably, say that they've been through that. But again, it's not just football; it's any aspect in life. You know what I mean? So, people maybe don't play sport; they'll still have setbacks in life. They'll, veer off. So you can use that in many different areas in your life, Tomás. So it's definitely something that I've used. I've always, veered off. I've always tried to get back in and keep going, keep building the top. Yeah.
And the All-Star was a proud day. Well, not only for yourself, but for all your underage coaches, for the club itself, because I heard that the club had the television on and the roar went up when you got it. So it's a nice honour, isn't it? Even though if you don't win an All-Ireland, it's happened to me as well. It is still nice to get an All-Star. It's nice to be...
As I said at the time, obviously at the start of the year you set out to win. You don't want to win. You'd rather be winning team accolades and the biggest, obviously the trophy, the All-Ireland and stuff like that. But whenever I look back at it, I was so proud to pick up the All-Star award as well. It was a proud moment for myself, my family, and everyone in my local community, my club, Owen Rose. I think back to whenever I was travelling the Tyrone development squads at maybe under 14 and under 15 every Saturday. My mother and father was taking me halfway over Tyrone. We didn't have Gavahi at the time, so we were all over the place, and it's just wee things like that. You sort of look now and say that's wee things that can pay them back. The award sits proudly in my mum's front living room, so she's very happy about that. But again, it's definitely something that I've seen players before in my area, Brian Durr, Stephen O'Neill, picking up All-Stars. So I'm happy to say that I'm a player pick up an All-Star. It's definitely something I'm proud of.
Yeah, it's, and I've no doubt there'll be a few more up there before the career is finished. Carl, was it after I'm going to come to the Brisbane stuff now? Was it because I was going to I haven't heard the story, and I purposely not read up on it today now because I want to kind of quiz you myself about it. But was it after the All-Star you were approached, or was it before?
It was after. In terms of it's that long ago now. You're trying to think back. It was before the league of my club finished up. So we were still playing. The league had finished in terms of we went into the playoffs. So that was to get promotion to Division 1. But it was just before before that finished. So I said to him, here, listen, he said that you're going to be getting a phone call. It's from the guy in Australia. But there was this story about Brisbane, but there was no truth in that. It wasn't Brisbane, it was Adelaide Crows were interested. So, they had got in touch to say, listen, there's going to be, there's going to be possibly be somebody getting in touch with you here. So the way I left it was, here, listen, I'm still playing for the club, want to get that finished first, and then if someone does ring or whatever, I speak to them. But again, then that was the first conversation I had with them, and basically they said that they were going to have someone in contact with me. So then that did happen.
Do you know, I think Kilkenny as well. Kilkenny went out and I don't know who I was talking to. I don't know, was it Muggsy I was talking to or somebody I was talking to, and he had it down that the sun wouldn't suit you out there, and that was the main reason maybe that you came back, right? But I know you made a decision to come back, and you made the point after. I know that you made the point that you wanted Tyrone was your, but the initial, Cathal, when you got her call, you must have got excited and said, "Fuck it."
There was definitely excitement excitement there, because when I got the phone call, I just obviously finished off after a difficult year, and I think too at my age, I was 24, so I was sort of thinking, this could be an opportunity that I may never get again. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely had a respect that I was getting that opportunity, and that's why I felt that it was the right thing to do was to go out and get the experience of it all, and go out and suss it all out. So I agreed with the club Adelaide. They come out for 2 weeks and suss everything out and see if it was for me. And I have huge respect for Tyrone and stuff. So I just made them aware of it. Spoke to them about it, and they did allow me to go and at least see what I thought about it. So that's what I did.
And what did you make of it outside there? You were inside, and I was talking to Tyrone GAA a couple of nights ago, and he gave me a great insight into what it was like over and what a week was like over. Did you actually train with them while you were over? Did you
trained as well? So even before I went out, they had a program in place for me, so that they had wanted me to start back here. So just basically to get used to their type of training. So I was types of running and running drills and running blocks and stuff like that, and maybe some light weights and things like that. But I wasn't worrying too much about that before I was going out, because I was still playing with my club as well. And even before I went out, I was sick for a week and stuff like that. So I wasn't worried too much about that. But when I went out there then, was basically straight into training. I had to do a 2K time trial the second day I got there, because
how did you compete in that? Because I'm always interested. You'd be a fairly fit man over here. How did you compare with the boys over?
It definitely. Now when I'm thinking back, Tomás, the time's not in my mind. I can't remember what my time was. It's just left me. But they were the news I got back from them, they were very, very happy with it. And it was my second day there, so it was only after the flight. You know what I mean? A couple of days, and my body was still sort of recovering or adapting to what their time and so on. But I do remember it was just a big track, like a forest track. So it was tough going. They all did it together the week before, so they were running together in groups of 5 or 6. So whenever I get back to the campus or where they were training, they were saying, here, listen, you would knock maybe 30 seconds of that maybe if you were doing it with a group of fellas. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But for them, they were very happy. That's what they had told me. They were very happy with my time. And off the top of my head, I just can't remember, Tomás, what it actually was.
Oh no, there's no need to remember. Do you know the football itself? And you're there, and you're after playing top scorer in Ireland for the championship 2019. You go out, and you're used to playing a certain style. You're used to running into certain spaces. Yeah. Did they pick you as a kind of forward out there? Because I know Tiggy, when he was out there, was a kind of a defender. Did they pick a role for you? And was it hard to kind of the way they were actually making space for themselves and the tactics that they had compared to us?
Yeah, it definitely was a lot to take in and a lot to get used to, because obviously it's so different compared to back home. But the one thing, yeah, they did identify me as going in when I was training to be a forward, but they did say as well they wouldn't rule out the option of being a wing back or in the defence like Conor McKenna, and you mentioned Tag and all the rest of them. But the position that whenever we did drills and different things, I was inside in the forward. But again, it's so different. It's just when you get the Gaelic ball straight away, you're thinking about the bounce of the solo. With this, you get the ball and you can run for 15, sort of pick up 10 to 15 yards, whatever it is, without having to solo or pass it off. And to be fair, that took a bit to get used to that as well. You're sort of, whenever you got it, you were thinking, if I don't pass here, I need to take a bounce or something. It was just something that it was in the head, you know what I mean? But it definitely was a lot. Tactics-wise, they used different language and stuff. So it was a lot. There was a lot to take in from meetings and different things. But obviously, with time, it's something that you probably would, and I would say all other Irish guys would back us up. After time, you do pick that up.
Did you? I'm not like. Was there any time during the 2 weeks? And 2 weeks is a long time over, right? And it's obviously going well over there, and they're happy with you, and the numbers are all freaking stacking in your favour, like. And when, Cathal, did you make the decision? Well, you're over there and say, fucking, like, if I was on day 2 there, knowing I was coming back to Tyrone, I'd say, fucking, I'm going to have a nice, good holiday here now, and I'll stick it out here for the crack, whatever. But throughout that time,
yeah,
were you unsure?
Obviously, whenever I was out there, I was getting a feel for the whole thing. So, getting up at 8 a.m. over there time, going in, starting training at 9 a.m., you train 9 to 12, say. Then after that, you have a gym 1 to, say, 3 in the afternoon, and then you're home. So you did that Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday was a day off. Thursday, Friday was the same. Saturday morning, you had a 7 a.m. session, and you finished at 9, so you had the rest of the day yourself. So whenever I was over there, I didn't have really much time to think. It was just go, go, go. I was straight in and getting used to everything. But I think, what I wanted to do was just see if it was for me. So once it was finished, we had a meeting. We sat down, obviously, over coffee and stuff, and they wanted me to stay. They were interested in me staying out there. I had flights and all obviously booked home, but I had said no, that it was I had to get home and speak to my family and speak to people as close to me and important people, and I stuck by that. I felt that I had to do that. So that's what I did. They respected that as well. They said no, that's 100%. But I think, Tomás, I've spoken about this before, and I've told people it's whenever I arrived back home. It wasn't until I arrived back home then where I realised, I'm in a good place back here, and just the wee simple things, your family, your friends, your teammates, and all that. They're close to you, and it's just the wee small things. Then, obviously too, I got the career pathway as well with Keystone, so that was obviously a big opportunity for me back home as well, to progress my career, not just on the field but off it. So there was loads of things I had to weigh up, and then Tomás, whenever the final decision was there, it was just a sense of relief, because it had been a 2 to 3 months was very, very difficult.
Yeah, the surfing up the north is way better anyway, Cathal, than down the north.
you wouldn't get the same waves maybe, but no.
But I think, like, I remember when I heard that you were staying at home and all that, and there was a lot of talk about it at the time, because for Tyrone going forward, you'd be one of their key men going forward. And for you to say that you wanted to stay at home and win an All-Ireland was a declaration to the rest of the team, in fairness, to say this guy believes in us, and this guy. Do you think they took a boost out of it? Do you think it kind of gave the lads, yeah, this is freaking great, like?
Possibly, I would say you're correct. Obviously, coming off the year that I had, I was obviously full of confidence, and I felt that I had done really well, and us as a team, we had maybe progressed well too. So I think, to be fair to the players in Tyrone, they were very respectful of me going out there. They all had given me their well wishes and saying go and see if it's for you. But obviously coming back too, then the boys welcomed me back in with open arms, and obviously you have best friends in your team. You know what I mean? Your teammates, you've been with them this last number of years, and even for me, I went to watch them against Meath up in Omagh, and it was just so hard to watch, because you're thinking I should be out there. Do you know what I mean? But here, listen, I'm just glad that it was all finalised, and I'm so happy with the decision I made. I feel that it's the right decision, and I'm very, very content. Obviously, the football and the injury, the injury happened, and then the football sort of stopping. We didn't expect that, but again, now it leaves for when it returns that hopefully we can go on to do better things.
Yeah, I've spoken in the past about lads going out to us, and Mark O'Connor was a huge loss to Kerry going out.
Yeah.
And look, you can't stop lads going out, and it's an opportunity of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
But you got a taste of it, right? Would you admire the lads that have gone out and stuck it? Because I'd imagine, Cathal, it's a tough thing. I'd say the homesickness alone would be very hard to deal with in terms of friends, family, everything.
I think that's something maybe possibly that I could have struggled with further down. You have to look at boys that's been out there and stuck it out. Even I know speaking to Connor and stuff recently, remember Connor McShane said that someone that's bothered him as well, and he's openly admitted that. But no, definitely it is something that you're not just a few hours away from home. You're not down at college down in Dublin or in Belfast. You're at the other side of the world, and it is a big factor. I think too that the thing of being in contact with people. So the people in Ireland will be sleeping whenever maybe you're going through your main part of the day over there, and sometimes you might be feeling down over there. I don't know. I'm just sort of thinking this in my mind because you're over there by yourself. Again, obviously you're going to make friends and all the rest, but it's not going to be the same as back home. So there would be big changes, and there'd be a lot of different things happening. But you would have to admire the people that's gone out there and stuck it out, because it definitely would be a challenge.
Fierce challenge. I was going to leave you off with a nice easy question to finish off is, how do we stop that juggernaut down in Dublin, or is there any stopping it?
Well, I don't know, Tomás. I think it's something that needs a lot of thought needs to go into.
It needs addressing.
It needs addressing big time, because 3 in a row, 4 in a row, and then now 5 in a row. Do you know what I mean? But maybe if we get them up on the Healy Park on a wet Monday night, that might help. But that's unfortunately the Ireland's not played up there.
I know. I was saying it the last night. I don't know who I was saying it to. I was saying, wouldn't I love? No, it'll probably stay at provincial and all that. But imagine like Tyrone being drawn out of a hat to go to Mayo for championship knockout, or Mayo having to go up, or Dublin having to go to Cork, or Kerry having to go up to Armagh. It would be fantastic for the supporters, but I don't think we'll see it, because I think they'll want to mind their provincials too much. Listen, Cathal, I've taken up too much of your time already, boy. All right, I really enjoyed the chat. It was brilliant stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing you. I hope the injury clears up, boy, and that we see you terrorising everybody except the Kerry fellas. All right.
Good man, Tomás. Look after yourself. Hope
all right,
well.
thanks a million, boy.
Cheers.
Good luck.
Bye.
Good luck.
Bye.